In our first story, the 35-year-old man has been shot at Lavanya Shooting in the Volta region. The incident is said to have occurred Friday, although it's not clear what may have led to this latest shooting. It comes on the heels of the shooting of a 13-year-old boy 2 weeks ago and the discovery of the body of an elderly lady on a farm as well. The killings have been a major source of worry to residents who say they fear for their safety. Let's get on the lines now and speak to correspondent Ivy Sotoji on this. Good evening to you, Ivy. What more can you tell us about this latest killing involving this middle-aged man?
Okay, now unconfirmed reports written have said that this 35-year-old man, Anani, who is a resident, or who was a resident at Lavanya Shooting, was shot dead. According to some of the residents who called, they said they were actually on their way. He was one of the mourners going to bury the young boy, the 13-year-old boy, who was shot 2 weeks ago when he was shot. He was a little behind, and so the unknown gunmen were able to take at him, and he was shot on the head and he died. So that's the information. Unconfirmed, but that's the information we are having currently.
Exactly when this incident occurred?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Ivy, I was asking when this incident occurred. Do we know that information?
Well, according to the resident, the incident occurred around 4 o'clock, thereabouts. That was when the incident occurred. So it's almost about 3 hours ago. That was when the young man was shot.
And has the police's attention been drawn to this latest killing? I mean, what is the police saying?
Police are yet to confirm the incident. According to the residents, they still having security presence in the town as we speak. The police is yet to confirm the incident to the media.
So generally, what is the mood of residents in this area in the wake of this latest killing?
Well, as usual, especially for the fact that they were going to bury the young boy before it happened. They are so scared, afraid of what might happen again, because right now they don't know what is happening. So that is the mood in town. Even though the heavy presence of the security, but this resident don't seem to have free mind or to move around safely. So they are saying they are scared because of what is happening. And one resident said it appears every Friday something is happening in regards to the shooting of people in both towns. So you can remember it was 2 Fridays ago when the young boy was shot, and last week Friday a middle-aged woman was also shot. And today is Friday, so everything is as if things are not clear to the residents who are living actually in fear.
All right, many thanks. Ivy Sotoji is our Volta regional correspondent, bringing us details of that latest killing in Lavanya. And meanwhile, the Interior Ministry has renewed the curfew on the area. In a statement, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry on Friday said the ministry has, on the advice of the Volta Regional Security Council and by executive instrument, renewed the curfew hours imposed on Lavanya and Nkonya townships from 8 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. effective Sunday, 28th May 2017. Government continues to express its appreciation to the chiefs, elders, opinion leaders, youth and people of the area for their efforts in ensuring peace in the area and urges them to use the established mechanisms for the resolution of all their conflicts and disputes. Meanwhile, government would like to reiterate that there is a ban on all persons in the 2 towns and their environs from carrying arms, ammunition, or any offensive weapons. Any persons found with any arms or ammunition will be arrested and prosecuted. And that is a statement from the Interior Ministry, signed by the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry, on that curfew which has been renewed on Lavanya and in Konya townships in the Volta region. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana is calling on the Ghana Police Service to arrest a popular assembly member, Jones Tete, alias Dindindum, who they accuse of inciting an attack on its office in Somanya in the eastern region by residents of the town. The residents in their hundreds are said to have pelted the office with stones, damaging property in a protest over what they describe as a high electricity bill slapped on them. The demonstration is said to have been triggered by a mass disconnection exercise in the town. Tema District PRO of the ECG, Theresa Osabote, tells Joy News the residents have for some time now refused to pay their bills, having been influenced by some assembly members.
There is this particular gentleman who holds a block factory. He has a meter there. He has 2 other meters in his premises, and he doesn't pay his bills. Anytime they disconnect him, he will reconnect himself. Last Tuesday, our people went round for disconnection. So this man, as usual, they disconnected him. He reconnected himself. But normally when we do disconnection, we go around for monitoring. On their rounds, it was realized that this man has reconnected himself. So because it's recalcitrant, they decided to remove the meter. This morning, a team led by the manager went to his premises, the block factory, to remove the meter. And it was at the block factory that he attacked them. I guess there were some people in the factory. They came together and attacked them. And immediately he jumped into his van, went around and mobilized people, announcing to them that let's go to ECG. And they all followed and had
had the problems there.
Yes,
so
yes.
What steps is the ECG taking now?
The issue is with the police. Either he's using his influence as assemblyman of the area to organize the people, or the people might not have really understood what we.
Well, meanwhile, we understand quite a number of police officers have been deployed at Somanya following the demonstration by the residents. Let's speak with the MP for the area, Magnus Kofi Amwate, who's joined me on the line now. Good evening to you, sir.
Naraba, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for asking. Are you aware of these concerns raised by your constituents?
Very much aware of the concerns raised today.
And what are you doing about it?
Well, I think in the first place, we had to persuade the demonstrators to dissuade from destruction of property. And now that that is done, it's important for us now to dialogue with ECG to ensure that, one, ECG brings our people actual bills and not estimated bills. It is also necessary that we engage the ECG in dialogue to ensure that bills are brought to the people on time, promptly. And then the people in turn will be able to settle the bills. If bills are accumulated and they are brought, naturally everybody will protest.
Honorable.
For the estimated bills, I think there is need for us to ensure that whatever software ECG is using must be able to produce to consumers actual bills, not estimated bills. So dialogue is very necessary, and we have agreed with the EC today that I'll be the link between them and the people so that we're able to educate ourselves. ECG needs to explain to us what actually happened. Then the people will also be able to dialogue with ECG to tell them what their real problems are.
The ECG claims that an assembly member by name Jones Tete is the one instigating the residents to attack the company because it disconnected him. Have you been able to verify this claim by the ECG, or is it the case that residents are being given, astronomical bills to pay?
Let me say that the assemblyman's action is just a trigger. The people have, for a long time, been agitating and asking why they must send astronomical bills. I'll tell you what. I personally once received a bill of 1,200 cedis, and that was followed immediately with a disconnection to my home. Normally, my bills are 100, and after I had paid that bill, the bill that I got yesterday was 32 cedis. You won't believe it, even though nothing has changed in that home. I confess that bills that are sent to the people are not realistic bills. There's need for us to ensure that proper things are done. With the assemblyman, I'm told that they are disconnected, and he got his power reconnected. Naturally, who will connect it for him? An electrician. I suspect maybe a GCB personnel did that for him. So the people, GCB went on monitoring today, tried to disconnect him again, and that was where the problem started. So I don't think it was the assemblyman who triggered it off, but reaction. The people are already angry that they are being saddled with astronomical bills, and there was need for them to do something.
Okay, very well. Many thanks for your time. That's Magnus Kofi Amwate. He's MP for Yellow Krobo. Let's move on. And the Economic and Organized Crime Office has pledged to thoroughly investigate a number of corruption-related cases brought to its attention by a group of demonstrators who marched to its offices Friday morning. The demonstrators, led by Adom FM's morning show host, Captain Smart, went on the demonstration to compel government to swiftly take action against public officials alleged to have engaged in corruption. The Yeji and Sika March, which comes on the back of reports the chief executive of the Ghana Standards Authority allegedly took $1.2 million in kickback from a contractor. The former chief executive of the National Communications Authority has also been implicated in the looting of millions of dollars of funds meant for the purchase of listening devices. Joy News' Maxwell Ababa joined the demonstrators all the way to the EOCO where they handed in their petition.
A state official, you work for government or what? We are sounding the warning to you. If you see us on TV, you hear our voice on, it's a strong indication that if you are thinking, planning, deciding, or making any form of attempt to steal, to rob, to corrupt yourself, and to take bribe in the expense of our safety and security and the future generation, stop. The mammoth crowd here, we're gradually inching closer to the EOCO office where the main organizer, the brain behind this protest march, the person of Captain Smart, he will be delivering his statement and will also be presenting what he has to the EOCO officials. Here is a huge crowd inside. A lot of the people here clad in black and red, holding their placards, protesting what they say is rife corruption in the system. A lot of them do not look tired, even though we've been walking for some distance now, right from the Brassport Circle. We've come through the central business districts, and then in some few minutes now, we'll be getting to the EOCO office where everything will end. It's a replication of what we saw a year ago on the 16th May, the Dumsama Stop Vigil. This is very similar to what happened on that day.
The church members, when they come to church, they even quality, they don't have it. So men of God, nowadays, we are suffering. We are suffering. So I'm reading with the government. Nanado, Akufo-Addo, you have to do something. The new this thing that you have to, I don't know, justice or whatever you want to separate. You have to bring that thing now.
Yes.
For the government to do something. Our money is just locked in a mixing. Look at what people are doing in this nation. How can a human being just eat money? My God, that is, I don't know what to say.
The youth of Ghana, this is the time for us to stand up. Yeah. This is the time for us to arise. We shouldn't wait till tomorrow. The time to act is now. Let's all be part. This one, no partisan nonsense. All we're saying is about the youth of Ghana, and it's about our money. We want our money, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I remember your songs. Our money, our money.
I've got the chop on I mean, you know, when I was doing this song, little did I know that I was going to be one of the main, to be used to fight corruption. Yeah. This song was done in 2008. Okay. You know what happened in Nigeria?
No, tell me.
When election, Buhari, that's the same song they used.
Oh, dying. The youth have no jobs. We are suffering in this country. Corruption is killing Ghana. We don't have to borrow to develop the country. We need our monies back. After the long walk, we're finally here at the entrance of the Yoko offices here in the Central Business District of Accra. The brain behind this protest march, Captain Smart, is entering together with other 5 people. The police here say they will not allow any media house to get inside. So these 6 people are expected to present the document that they have to the Yoko. And they have given the Yoko 3 months to take action.
Thank you, your able lieutenants and you've made a very touchy statement. The fact that civil society realizes support investigative bodies in fights against crime.
Yes, you have a pediatrician
In fact, it is very, very cardinal. We will talk a lot about this when we meet the leadership in our conference room. For now, we want to welcome you. We've taken possession of the materials you've given us, and which could be a very good basis of inquiry and investigation. We can only assure you that we will do a very decent, diligent investigation.
Thank you.
In fact, you are equally assured that Yoko has the support of higher authority to push this agenda.
You're still watching Joy News Prime, and still to come, the newly opened Greater Accra Regional Hospital has delivered its first baby through C-section as operations finally begin at the new ultra-modern wing. And finally, we get to one of the people responsible for quite a number of the power outages that may have left you groping in the dark in your home.
I schedule generation and I make sure generation meets demand. Yeah.
i.e., you put up a post light.
Oh yeah, if I have to.
All that and more when we come back. Don't go away. You're welcome back. Now, President Akufo-Addo says the country will rely heavily on the Ghana Armed Forces and the other security agencies in the fight against illegal mining, also known as Galamsey. Government is currently in a crusade to bring an end to the illicit activity said to be responsible for the destruction to the environment and water bodies in some parts of the country. Addressing a color presentation parade of the Armored Reconnaissance Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, Nane Akufo-Addo said Galamsey menace constitutes a major threat to the security of the country. Elton Brobe reports.
The Akufo-Addo administration has been waging a full-scale war against the illegal mining phenomenon since it assumed office, with some major gains. Over the last 5 months, Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Amewu has been at the forefront of government's efforts. So far, The operations on some mining concessions have been suspended, whilst a major player in the illegal mining industry, Chinese national Aisha Huang, is facing prosecution for the act. Recently, the army came under criticism for allegedly providing security for some galamsey operators, a claim the Defense Ministry says would have to be investigated. Addressing the gathering, President Akufo-Addo called for a united effort to end the galamsey menace.
As government intensifies its efforts to curb the illegal mining phenomenon, otherwise referred to as galamsey, that is polluting our waters, destroying our farmlands and forests, and threatening the very survival of this country, Ghanaians would continue to rely on the services of our security services, with the armed forces in the forefront, to help deal with the problem.
The president also announced plans by his government to retool the Ghana Armed Forces with the requisite equipment, training, and human resources to make them battle-ready.
In terms of military preparedness, government will actively support contemporary training methods that will not only keep you abreast of international military trends, but will also ensure that you remain the beacon of armed forces across the continent. We are committed to providing you with modern military equipment, which will complement the training you would receive.
The ceremony for the presentation of colors in tune with long-standing military traditions across the world has been the sole preserve for units in the infantry. However, in line with the decision taken to present colors to deserving combat-supporting units of the Ghana Armed Forces, the Armored Race Regiment was presented with its own colors. The only other combat support units who have ever been presented with their own colors are the 48th Engineer Regiment and the 66th Artillery Regiment. A short display by the military underscored the importance of the ceremony.
Now to the Greater Accra, because the Regional Hospital on Friday conducted its first surgery since operations began in the new ultra-modern facility. The cesarean section produced a healthy 2.6 kilogram baby boy. Friday's operation comes more than a week after the hospital announced it had formally opened its doors to the public. Joy News' Jifa Kege witnessed the C-section and reports.
Though the new ultra-modern facility has been open for more than a week, it wasn't until Friday, May 26, that it began conducting operations. The first successful surgery was the cesarean section conducted in the labor ward. The head of the anesthesia department of the hospital, Dr. Ivan Satituna, who took part in the operation, says though they encountered some challenges with the operations of the equipment, it's a marked improvement from what they've been used to in the old facility.
This is our first operation in this new facilities, and it went on really well, really well. But as every new thing, definitely there'll be some few challenges here and there, which we have to solve over a period. Compared to the old place, we were having a lot of challenges, especially with equipment's breaking down and not getting parts to replace them. So with this new facility, in fact, we hope to even do better than we were doing previously. So we are happy. Yes.
The acting medical director of the hospital, Dr. Emmanuel Sofenyo, explains the transition from the old block of the hospital to the new one is still ongoing.
We cannot just suddenly stop everything there and then suddenly go 100% here. It has to be a winding down process and a building up process on the side. So once we start gradually, and every new system, you cannot just shut it down suddenly. You cannot just operationalize the system to 100% capacity at a go. So once we've started, we have to have a plan, and we have a plan. From now onwards, new cases will be brought to the side, and then the existing cases will be catered for on the other side. And so as the existing cases, and these are cases that we have already admitted, as they are catered for on that side and they get better and they are discharged home, then the load on that side will begin to go down. whilst we build up the new cases on the side. And gradually, this place will become fully operational and become 100% operational, whilst the other place becomes empty.
He says full operations should begin from June 2. Other units of the hospital which have also started operations include all clinical departments, the pharmacy and kitchen. Government at the former opening of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital on May 17, 2017, promised it will look for funds to start work on the second phase of the hospital.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. I'm Arba Kumsin. Don't go away. Business is up next. You're welcome back. Time for business now. And Emmanuel Abuaji-Riafi joins me in the studio now. Hi, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Looking very bright in your
yellowish
top. Anyway, so what's happening on the business front?
Well, in business, one of our top stories is that the farmers or poultry stakeholders are urging government to establish factories throughout the country under the one factory, one district, one factory implementation, because they also want to be known. Everybody
not a bad idea considering we consume so much chicken.
Exactly, and we import a lot also at this time.
Great, give us the details.
Thank you very much, and thanks for joining me on business. Stakeholders in the poultry sector are urging government to establish factories for processing of chicken and other poultry products under the one district, one factory policy. The call comes as some industry players continue to advocate the revamp of the sector, which they say is on the verge of collapse. Speaking to Joy Business at the launch of some new chemical products for poultry and piggery production, CEO of Boris B Farms and Veterinary Supplies, Boris Bedu, said establishment of poultry processing factories was key to the poultry supply chain.
For some time now, poultry production has not been able to match up supply as a result of several challenges confronting the sector. The deficit is therefore imported to the detriment of the country's economy. Currently, the country's poultry import bill is said to be around 200 million Ghana cedis as efforts are being made to reverse the trend. Some industry players met at the launch of 3 products, Varium, Poultry Guard and New Prime for poultry and pig production. The adoption of a product is expected to improve productivity by 3 to 5% for farmers. In an interview, CEO of Boris B Farms, Boris Bedu, acknowledged processing factories will be needed to improve poultry productivity in the country.
Over 200,000 metric tons of chicken imports are coming, from abroad. And so we are saying that there's a policy that says 40 to 60. That means the local farmers should produce 40%. And those who are importing should bring in 60%. Now, the 40%, if you talk about 200,000 metric tons of importation, that means we're talking about the local people should produce 80,000 metric tons. And the 80,000 metric tons is 80 million kilos. Again, the 80 million kilos, we always say that every dressed bird is a 1.2 kilos. So, in that sense, we're talking about 80 million kilos divided by 1.2 is going to give us around 66 million kilos. And that is, of course, we're going to need about 8 plants, 8 processing plants. That's a 3,000 per hour, capacity plant. And so we need, the government to help us. So we are praying that the one district, one factory has been mentioned by the current government, and also the Ministry of Trade and all that they are doing, to help, the devastating, the deteriorating, industries, we believe that something good can come out of it.
On his part, Vice President of the Poultry Farmers Association supported the adoption of better technologies to improve yield.
In as much as we are not satisfied with poultry production and its level in the country, we will continue to look for what can increase our competitiveness. And we will continue to tell our farmers, for anything that can be used in poultry production, in feed, hatchery, veterinary drugs and vaccines, we will have to go for it. So yes, sometimes it's difficult for farmers to switch from one product to the other. If we, identify that this will help the cause, I entreat all farmers to go for that. And reading about these products globally, I think it's one of the kinds that will help the cause of poultry in the country.
The stakeholders were from various regions in the southern part of the country. The launch was under the theme New Dimension in Poultry and Pig Production.
Meanwhile, the Vice President of the National Poultry Farmers Association, Napoleon Agyemang-Uduro, has cautioned poultry stakeholders to come up with feeding alternatives to avoid a shortage of feed. Following armyworm infestation of maize farms across the country, the attack is said to have destroyed huge maize and other crop farms and is eventually threatening the entire agric value chain.
The worm infestation is definitely going to affect poultry production. As the minister mentioned, the target for maize and soybean production in the initiative, Planting for Food and Jobs, is poultry production and pig production. So that if at the end of the day, at this point, we have realized that the production, maize production is being infested with this worm, that gives room for alarms. It gives the cause for alarm. We need to start planning as to what we can do. Of course, once it's infested, productivity will be affected as well. And I am very much hopeful that even if we imported maize to support local production, with the planting for food and the main targets as poultry, and if the result is not going to be there because of this infestation, then stakeholders must come together to see where we can get maize. I'm expecting the yield or the harvest to come into the market sometimes August, September. If by this time we are talking of infestation, then it's likely that productivity will be affected. And that is to say that stakeholders will have to come together to see how we can get enough maize to still enhance the poultry production in the country.
Shareholders of GCB Bank have unanimously rejected a proposed annual remuneration increment of 62% for Board of Directors. The new Board of Directors of the bank chaired proposed a total annual increment of 4.5 million Ghana cedis away from the 2.5 million Ghana cedis currently enjoyed by board members. Justifying such an increment, however, Chairman of the Board, Jude Kofi Arthur, noted it's been 4 years now since any increment was affected. This was at the bank's 23rd annual general meeting in Accra. Ebenezer Sabute was there, and his report is presented to you.
Shareholders of GCB Bank shut down the decision by board members to increase their annual salaries from a total of 2.5 million to 4.5 million cedis. The shareholders say that they were not given enough notice and that the company did not have adequate funds for such increments. The AGM was also to ratify the appointment of new directors of the board and also to approve a 62% increase in their remuneration. Chairman of the board of GCB Bank, Jude Kofi Arthur, explains the reason for such a proposal.
There has been no increase in directors' fee since 2013. That is 3 years down the line. And we all know the rates of the cost of doing business over a 3-year period, which represents something like a 15 to 20% increase per annum. So it may not appear as outrageous as it is.
However, the shareholders unanimously disagreed with the proposal.
The goodness or the sweetness of a cake lies in its eating. I am at the age of 80. What is left for me, only God knows. So I have to do something for my children. And then, so I beg you, please, that kind of might be roads. Because in America they say what? Equal rights. We too, our motto is freedom and justice. What do you make it freedom and injustice? Okay, I'm done.
After the long hold-up, shareholders were given the opportunity to vote on the agenda. The proposal was eventually shut down. Some shareholders praised the decision taken to withdraw the proposal and requested the board rethinks the decision. In an interview later, Jude Kofi outlined the next step for the bank with regards to the payment of packages for the directors.
The problem that arose is that a lot of them did not get the annual reports in 21 days. And the bank was explaining that some of it was sent onto the net, which was available. Of course, you understand the level of technology and even the people understanding that having even access to the net. So they had a point that they hadn't received it. That is why the management have also decided that going forward, they will use the branches as part of the distribution points for this. And then we will continue to mail, use the post office, use every available source so that at least we'll get a wider coverage.
Are you still going by the 62% increment?
No, you just saw it declined. So we will have to get back to our shareholders.
Meanwhile, the board approves a dividend payment of 38 pesos per share, representing a total payout of 107 million cedis for shareholders. The bank also recorded a profit before tax of 467 million cedis for 2016, a 29% increase from 2015 profit and profit after tax of 380 million cedis in 2016, a 25% increase from the 2015 figure.
Plastic wastes have become nothing but an economic menace, with substantial volumes finding their way into either landfill sites or storm drains. The advent of plastic waste recycling in the country has, however, not only brought some relief to environmentalists and waste managers, but also provided jobs for a number of people. In our special Friday feature today, Kuku Aban explores a new technology that turns plastic waste into fuel.
An associate with research and consultancy firm, Cometh & Associates, Dr. Vincent Shre, explaining to me the current production capacity of the firm, which has ventured into using plastic waste to produce petroleum products in the country. It certainly is a great initiative, dealing with fuels and as well generating energy. But how is this achieved?
We generating this fuel out of it. We don't have a huge capacity yet. We started this whole initiative started. This is an application. This is not a whole new innovation by itself, but it's an application, and we have a capacity of generating about 500 liters of fuel in a day. We are looking at upscaling this in the near future with the improved supply of raw materials, and then support from other institutions. At least we can go up the ladder.
So you are doing it in this country?
Yeah, we are doing it here in Ghana. We have a reactor, a reactor built by people in Swami Magazine, who we got the reactor from. We did the design and everything here in Ghana. As I said, the reactor was built in Swami by the artisans in Swami Magazine. So we do everything here. The plastic waste, the generation, all of them are done here.
Well, the Energy Commission has pledged its unflinching support for the initiative. It, however, wants all such initiatives to be submitted for verification and validation. Here's energy expert and former board chairman of the Energy Commission, Dr. Kwame Ampofu.
Renewable energy technologies in the country. We're even given the mandate to work with the public and work with other identifiable institutions or organizations or entities to realize this development of renewables in the country. Therefore, naturally, as part of that mandate, we will look at proposals that come to us in terms of new ideas, want to tap on the public's...
Indigenization is said to be one of the ships. This obviously looks like one, but the question beckons, would it be given the needed support? Well, only time will tell.
And that's all we have for you by way of business tonight. Many thanks for your company, and do have a great weekend. Good evening.
You're welcome back. Now, a member of the African Union Advisory Board on Corruption, Daniel Batadam, says the Akufo-Addo administration must be seen to be tackling corruption with an even hand. Mr. Batadam, who was an advisor to former President Mahama on corruption, says officials of the former administration and the current government who are found to have engaged in corrupt acts must be prosecuted in line with the law. He was speaking on PM Express.
The politicians are aware. Every time in opposition they say, oh, when we come, we are going to separate the Attorney General from the Minister for Justice. When they, as soon as they come in, they say, hey, is this convenient? Oh? I mean, if you do that, then that means that you don't know if a case comes up, you don't know where it's going to go. So we are going round in circles. I have gotten to the point where I feel that it is not that anybody really wants to come and do the right thing. They just want to have their turn. And some Kenyan wrote a book titled Our Turn to Eat. So it seems all this struggle is about having our turn to eat, not that the other person is bad. And I told you the other time, at the beginning of the year when we spoke, I'll be happy to see how many prosecutions happen in the next 4 years. Even prosecution of people of the previous government. Because, my brother, they said there will be a special prosecutor. By the end, I don't know when it will be established. I believe that by the end of the year, when the special prosecutor's office is established, there may be enough people in the current government who need to be prosecuted. And so there will be a big question. How can you leave the current allegations of corruption and go back? So after some time, you are finished. And I told you, mark my words, January 2019, let's come here and tell me how many prosecutions. If they haven't happened, forget it. It won't happen because, you see, we are exploiting the weaknesses of the system.
Now, an electronic and cybercrime expert is calling for concerted efforts by stakeholders to address mobile money-related fraud in Ghana. Principal consultant at the Electronic Crime Bureau, Albert Enchibuesiako, says 5 out of every 10 mobile money users in Ghana have been defrauded or targeted by scammers. He says the inability of police to thoroughly investigate electronic-related cases, as well as lack of public education, among others, play key roles. Israel FM's Ohimenteria has more.
Mobile money transfer, an electronic financial service introduced in Ghana about 10 years ago, has grown to become one of the accessed avenues for cash transaction. Deposit and withdrawal of money, especially by the unbanked population, is common. A development financial experts believe will facilitate Ghana's transformation into a cashless economy. However, activities of fraudsters, inability of police to successfully investigate electronic-related crimes, lack of public education are some of the challenges to mobile money operation. Many subscribers, including even security personnel, have in one way or the other lost money through activities of fraudsters. Ashanti Regional Police Commander DCOP Kenyabwa is twice a victim of mobile money fraud. Though he will not give details, he told police officers at the capacity building session in Kumasi they must brace up to deal with the menace.
In fact, I have personally fallen victim to this mobile money transaction on 2 occasions, and so I would be happy to take part in the discussion so that I know where I went wrong and who my beneficiaries were.
Telecom giant MTN acknowledges the enormity of the warrant fraud trend. The company saw increasing number of cases from 28 in 2016 to 43 since the beginning of this year. Peter Bimpe, a senior sales manager for the northern sector.
Over time, we are seeing a steady increase in the number of fraud cases reported in 2016 with an average of 28 cases per month. In the first 2 months of 2017, we are seeing an average of 43 cases per month, which is almost double of last year's average, as the case may be. This is a serious cause for concern for us.
Electronic and cyber crime expert Albert Nchibu wants stakeholders to pool resources to stamp out the canker. He particularly recommends intensified public education, as he reveals 5 out of 10 people have already fallen victim.
On average, a minimum of 5 people out of 10 have been, targeted by mobile money fraudsters, either successfully, defrauding them or probably attempting to defraud them. So look, half of the population of users of mobile money are being confronted by scammers. You cancel them, right? I think this is the genesis why we need to step up. But it's also important to mention that the focus is being on the police at this point in time. Crime officers in particular. Why? Because the police is a point of contact. If I experience a form of mobile money fraud, the right process to do is report to the police.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Ohime Tewia report.
Now, when the lights go off in your home as part of a general power outage, you'd normally want to blame the Electricity Company of Ghana for it. There are, however, instances where ECG knocks out your power only because the Ghana Grid Company, where it takes its supply from, does not have enough to go around. Once in a while, either Gridco or ECG will own up and claim responsibility. But in a rare move, the person who knocks out the electricity, which leads to widespread power outages, has been explaining why she sometimes does that. You may want to call Ajoba Bentil the Gridco Electricity Terminator, but her actual title is Operations Planning Engineer. Raymond Appa paid her a visit in her office.
Ms. Bentil,
yeah?
I want to believe that you enjoy your job.
I really
So how do you feel being the only woman in this office?
I feel very proud and very good.
So tell me, exactly what do you do?
I'm an operations planning engineer. I schedule generation and I make sure generation meets demand. Yeah.
i.e., you put up a post like.
Oh yeah, if I have to.
How do you feel when, for example, I leave at Chachimota, when my light goes off? I don't have your number, I'll be calling consistently to complain, but how do you feel when you do that?
I feel very uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah, very.
People call you to complain?
Yeah, they do. My friends do call me to complain.
Really? They know this is a job you do?
Yeah, they know.
I mean, do you feel lonely in this environment?
I do not. I do not. The guys are very supportive. I do not.
I mean, to you, how do you see yourself next 10, 20 years being like the CEO?
Oh yeah, a consultant.
A consultant?
Yes.
All right, that's interesting. So, I mean, one reason, just give the people one reason why their light goes off when it goes off.
Why their light goes off? Oh, okay, well, if generation doesn't meet demand and we have to shade, so I mean save the system, we do shade to save the system.
And what do you consider in choosing the places that you put up first?
Ooh.
Where your ex-boyfriend lived or something? Is that a factor?
No, it isn't a factor. Okay, well, that one depends on so many factors.
Okay.
Yeah, so many factors. And
so which place are we getting power outage tonight?
Tonight, no.
There's no.
We are not shedding load tonight.
Really?
We have enough generation to meet the demand. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm very sure, pretty sure.
Now, potholes, gaping gullies and wide undulating patches, critical features of the Mainhian community, roads in the Gan West municipality in Accra. Traveling on the 5-kilometer stretch, according to residents and commuters, has been a nightmare, as on a road largely responsible for the frequent breakdown of their vehicles and also causing miscarriages. Residents of the area and adjoining communities like Insakina and Joma want government to fix the road to save them from the agonizing experience they endure on a daily basis. Latif Idris took a trip on the road and now reports.
The journey to Manhyam is supposed to be short, but it can really be long and frustrating. It should not take more than 10 minutes, but due to the bad nature, commuters have no option but spend close to an hour enduring the bone-shaking bumps on the road. Manhyam Road is in a class of its own. No asphalt, no bitumen, it's just red soil leading somewhere. We are about starting the grueling journey on a rather convoluted, little over 5-kilometer stretch of road from Ablekuma to Manhyam. Now, I would like you to join me on a commercial vehicle for an experience of what the people of Manhyam and its environs endure on a daily basis. So let's get on board, get this agonizing experience. Passengers who join the Manhyam-bound vehicle always do so with fright because they know what awaits them once they make it to Ablekuma Curve. Commuters and residents have had to endure the rather bad road for some time now. The sorry situation gets even more chaotic when it rains. Drivers are compelled to get creative on this stretch, carefully maneuvering their way through meandering paths. On a rainy day, the road gets muddy and slippery. A lot of vehicles get stuck. Drivers lament how they spend much cash replacing damaged parts of their vehicles. Is it a ball joint or something? This man, Odo, is struggling right in the middle of the road to fix his car.
It's costing me because that ball joint has break. I have to go to Abasokai and buy a new one. But right as I'm speaking now, I won't get money to buy it. So I sent to welder and weld it for me.
In fact, we plead the government. We plead. So they have to do.
As a driver, how is the road impacting on your business?
In fact, I've been my spring have been broken day to day. My spring, 4th of spring, 4th of. I said, my man, it not be easy. So this road, then for do this road give us.
The impact on productivity is enormous. Drivers move at 30 speed on this road. Workers and students are always late.
The road is very bad, and I'm pleading on the government so that they can help construct this road.
Does it affect you in any way?
Yeah.
How?
We take about 1 hour before reaching the main junction, so we become late to school. So I'm pleading on the government so they can help construct this road.
My job begins at 8:30, and guess what? Sometimes I get a car around 6:30 and I get to La Paz at 8:30. So it really takes my time. Due to the bad nature of the road, it consumes time and you get to work all tired.
And you can testify. In the car, it's shaking. So what I will say is, it's not good. We are suffering.
We suffer like almost 20 years now. Why? 20 years now. Why? 20 years.
For the residents who frequently use the road, it is a daily struggle.
Recently, there is a certain pregnant woman who is about to labor. When they are sending her to Oduman Government Hospital, she just fainted on the car, and she delivered on the car, which is very bad. It seems like we those over here, we don't vote. And when it reaches election time, everybody will come, you can vote for me, we'll do this road. It seems like we are not on the map.
There are even worse cases among pregnant women.
I saw clots of blood and quickly rushed to the hospital.
This woman has been living in Manhyam for barely 5 months now.
5 weeks into my pregnancy, after traveling to and from work back home, I felt a sharp pain in my abdomen. I went to the washroom and that was the end of my pregnancy. I saw clots of blood and quickly rushed to the hospital. And the doctor said I have had a miscarriage. In fact, it was bad. I felt bad. It's been 5 months now, and my husband and I have been trying so hard, in fact so hard, for me to get pregnant, but it is not working, and it's all because of this road.
It's as if we are in a village. Our husbands are unable to perform their sexual responsibilities due to the bone-shaking experience on the road. My pregnancy has even been affected by the bumps on the road.
The assemblyman of Manhian electoral area, Malik Abbas, says the residents have been insulting him for not doing enough to improve the state of the road.
We are in the rainy season, and the road has moved from bad to worse. Life is very unbearable. And I can tell you, believe me, that people keep calling me every morning, afternoon, evening about this road. Sometimes they insult. Even my family members, they can't even come out because of this road. Because the moment they see them, they rain insults on them. So it's a very serious situation.
Until this convoluted road is fixed, the residents would have to endure the daily struggle of what is rather an agonizing journey on this road. Latif Idris, Joy News, Manhian in the Ga West Municipality.
Now, a second fundraiser to raise additional funding for an extension of the maternal and baby unit at the Komfo Teaching Hospital will take place in the Garden City, Kumasi, this Sunday, May 28, 2017. Already, a Joy News team has joined colleagues at Lavafem to prepare for the massive event, which is an initiative of the First Lady, Rebecca Ekufuado, and under the patronage of the Asantehene Otumfuose Tutu II and his wife, Lady Julia. Seth Kwame Boateng, who put together the documentary on maternal mortality at the Komfo Teaching Hospital, which is at the heart of this entire campaign, joins me via phone from Kumasi. Good evening to you, Seth.
Good evening, Baba.
So how far with Sunday's fundraiser in terms of preparation?
Yes, so we left Mensha not long ago. We had a final meeting there to finalize a few things. So everything is set. We got well on Sunday, 4:30. We are all meeting there for the fundraiser. And we're going to have the Lady Julia doing the opening address. Otumfuose will also be there. And we're going to have high-profile individuals, people ready, standing by to donate to us. This is what the cause are also there. Today we went to Komfo to also see how far we've gone with preparations and the site where we're supposed to have the building. There were some trees there, and they brought down those trees, preparing the grounds for what to start.
And what are patrons to expect? We witnessed the event in Accra. It was a very successful one. Patrons gave it the thumbs up. There was a lot of support. What are patrons to expect in Kumasi?
My understanding here is that, and the feeling here, is that they would want to do more than what people in Accra did. They want to show more love, and they hope to give us more money towards the project. And their expectations should be met because in 4 months' time, this facility will be ready for use. So all those coming to donate, they expect that 4 months, they will see what their contributions did towards saving the lives of mothers and babies here in Kumasi.
All right, many thanks, Seth Kwame Boateng, there with that update from Kumasi on preparations for Sunday's event, and let's see whether the Kumasi donors will outdo the Accra donors. Moving on, the National Democratic Congress says it will employ more technology in its operations to recapture power in 2020. After the party's massive defeat in the 2016 general elections, some pundits have suggested the NPP's huge social media presence contributed to its electoral victory. Speaking at a news conference at Elmina in the Central Region after a UNDP forum with political parties, former Attorney General Betty Moldidrisu observed the party needs a technological touch to solidify its base to clinch victory in 2020. Richard Kojunyako reports.
The UNDP's engagement with political parties in the country was to help the parties formulate their internal and external communication strategies and also engender the processes of having more women in the political space. The NDC took the opportunity to address the media on the progress of work of the party's policy document that the party says it intends banging its hopes on to victory in 2020. Addressing the media, former Attorney General Betty Modi-Drisu says the party may have done series of mistakes in the past, but it is more poised to right the wrongs and secure the needed victory, beginning with the empowering of women. She is hopeful that the policy, when ready, will bring the party's leaders and followers home to be abreast with new and emerging technological trends to enable the party win in the 2020 elections.
Women are everything to us in NDC, and I think that you've seen consistently over the years, both His Excellency late Professor Mills and the former President John Dramani Mahama have tried to put women in the forefront in different ways. I am confident that when we have this finalized, we've almost got it finalized, we will be able to bring NDC fully into this new technological age. Some of us are born before computers, but we see the need to bring all our different participants and our different membership, whether the youth, whether the women, into, and even our leadership, into the technological age. Technology controls the world. We have the spread of the WhatsApp platforms and the spread of the internet, Instagram, and other things. All of these have to be looked at the impact that they are making, and we also, as a party, we have to come to acknowledge that right.
Deputy General Secretary of the party, Kwaku Anyidaho, says the NDC has been doing everything within its power to prevent the MPP from failing. But to him, it looks as if the MPP is bound to fail and will hand over the reins of power easily to the NDC in 2020. He is urging the party faithful not to rely on the failings of the NPP but work hard for victory in 2020.
God forbid that we just sit down and pray for the MPP to fail, thinking that the failure of the MPP is what will bring us automatically to power. That would be wrong. That would be a wrong approach. Ours is to go back to our philosophy of social democracy, reach out to the grassroots, put in place our own policies, our own structures, our own messages, and get back to our people. The number of our people who didn't vote, why didn't they vote? They didn't vote for the MPP, but they didn't vote for the NDC. Let's reach out to them. As for the MPP and how they are failing, that is going to become very legendary. Nana Akufo-Addo is going to end up as the president who will leave the worst legacy. He will fail so miserably because he himself wants to fail, not because we want him to fail. He himself wants to fail. Exactly. We have been trying to prevent him from failing, but he wants to fail. And he's busy failing. So that's his business. He will be a failure. But it's not Akufo-Addo's failure that will grant us victory. It is documents like this, policy documents, a serious political party that will sit down, crack its brains, put in place the structures, and work. Roll up our sleeves, dig our feet in, and work. That's what we are doing. That's what the failure of the MPP. Let's leave Akufo-Addo with his bloated family, friends, and cronies government to fail as much as they want to. We as a party, we don't want to fail. That's why we are working.
This is Joy News Prime.